Okay, what about now? I can barely hear you though.
How's that?
Whoa, that's way better.
All right. So I can't see you though.
Okay, hold on one second.
There you are.
Hey.
All right. Can you see me?
Oh yeah.
We can hear, we can see. We're good to go. And
Sounds good.
hopefully they
Sounds
can
good.
see a chart. I put, not a chart, a screen I've got up. Let me know what you're actually.
I can see your. I can see on the screen. It has our webinar.
Okay, good.
Is that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. So what are you looking at?
Can you see me now?
Yeah, I can see you, but what are you looking at?
No, I mean, I'm broadcasting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I just want to make sure they can see me and you together.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, hold on a second, because now I can only see your screen. Swap shared screen with video. What the fuck does that mean?
Don't you use this every day?
The boys do. Like
The
I'll
boys do.
have to
Okay.
I'll hop on but I
Good, good, good.
can see both of us.
Awesome.
But now if I wanted to see your screen.
That's all right. Well, we're not really doing the share screen thing.
Yeah, we're not really messing with it anyway.
It's good. We can see the screen, but can you see our faces?
Yeah, I mean I can.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you very much. Perfect. All right, we're good to go.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Where
No,
are you?
absolutely. I'm at the office. So we just closed and my P&L just went from up 40 to -10. And now I'm at like 15 somewhere off that stupid program that just ran. So that's
It's only the 3rd. You've got a few more days in the month. Don't worry. I know
yeah.
you play catch up really quickly.
And no doubt.
All right. So I am very excited. First of all, thank you so much for tuning in. We had a rescheduled broadcast, obviously, from 2 weeks ago. Anand came under COVID sickness, and that's just not anything to play with. And you didn't feel very well either, but you look great. You sound great. You're back to trading. So
I'm back, baby.
good.
I'm back.
And we had, oh gosh, I'm going to give an intro on you that I am quite sure no one has given before.
All right. So then you got to let me do the intro for you then.
Oh boy, that's scary. All right. Well, what I've let you know. I met Anand of saying Lucci, by the way. And if you're coming here from, I don't know, the World Wide Web and you don't know either of us, you're going to learn. We're both traders. We trade for a living and we basically support clients that do the same thing. In a nutshell, we come at it very differently. I am very much focused on the analysis and then the trading. He's very much focused on the trading. So this is what you do, and you don't really share, what analysis you come up to get to that trade, but you definitely hit it out of the park and you teach your methodology at Saying Lucci. Yep. Maybe not this afternoon, but that we'll deal with that. And he's an options trader and has a fabulous room, which is run by Wall Street Jesus. For those in the option world, everybody knows Wall Street Jesus. Yep. So that's the product and the platform and the personality, and they are larger than life, plus your partner, Charlie. So I won't say the Three Stooges, but you guys have it going on. There's no question. And you've got a hip crowd, but you don't have many women in your ranks.
We really don't. We really don't. And to be quite honest, ever since I've ran chat rooms, I mean, and again, like, we're running the service. So you and I both run a service. So we see who's paying, we see who's buying, we see who's actually interacting. And I've sat in countless chat rooms, including my own, where maybe we'll have 1 out of 100 that'll actually talk, get involved, and then, but I know they're there. I know they're paying. I can see their names and I can see them.
But they're not maybe feeling so comfortable in that man cave. We've talked about this. And
100%.
This is something you came and, we had a conversation right before the Traders for a Cause event.
Yep.
And you actually got me into that event. So they asked me to speak. I spoke about women in trading and finance, kind of gave my overview of, more of the statistical inequality, but also how this COVID change, work from home due to COVID change is definitely propelling more independent traders onto the scene. I know my business has improved, yours has, as far as membership, but it's women are next, so to speak, in finding their home. And I obviously want to be a voice for women, not just in elevating and promoting, but also supporting women who do this. Now, a little bit on my side, I'm a macro to micro analyst, educator, and trader. I do run a live trading room, which means you hear my voice. I'm, looking at what market moving news is going on. I'm also interpreting the data into context and actionable trades on multiple time frames, mostly options. He sells options. I'm definitely more directional because I'm looking for volatility. And my particular emphasis of curiosity in why things are moving means that I study a macro backdrop. I do a lot of intermarket analysis, which is divergences, trying to time tops and bottoms. I'm actually really good at that. So for me, technical trading, technical analysis is but one tool in the toolbox. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. The quant, I love. The sentiment, a little bit, when it's at extremes, even throwing in the fundamentals. But the whole approach that I use and that Anand uses, it's very different. But we're serving the same crowd, and my style, his style, you find out what fits. But this particular conversation was kind of funny when I kind of got at it. What are you trying to do? Get a woman trading desk down there in Puerto Rico? And you're like,
that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing.
But finding them, and like I have put ads out there for support roles and trading education roles. And I haven't, honestly, very few women have stepped up, but we're going to talk about that too. Hopefully there's some in the room in this audience today, or those who watched the broadcast. But we're going to back up a little bit just to give you, now that you know who we are as far as kind of traders in this space, how we met, I think is kind of fun, because where we are now is totally different from where we were, 5 years ago?
Definitely, man. Definitely.
I think this helps. I think that the journey, the story, don't be shy. I'm not bragging about it. It's honesty, right?
100%.
Are you ready for this intro?
Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
And it's not, what do you call it? Shone in the brightest light. Our egos are not big back then. Mm-hmm. So I had wanted to get into the trader education space because I knew I was an excellent analyst. I didn't have the confidence to be an excellent trader. I saw in Anand an excellent trader. So I had early on, back in 2008, actually, when I started doing this myself as a full-time independent trader, I looked for mentors. I always wanted to learn how they really did think and trade, and I would shadow them. So I would literally find the traders in the zone. I was really good at finding those traders in the zone and ask if I could shadow them. That's how I really got my tentacles, if you will, into learning lots of different techniques. And then I would basically adopt the ones that, fit my style, my risk tolerance, my whatever. My curiosity was to find out how other people were doing what they were doing. And I still am beyond curious. But there was something else that was going on behind the scenes. And that was, I was going through a big honking divorce.
Yeah.
And I was under a financial restraining order. I couldn't trade. So I hit Anand up for a job. And I approached it like this.
Yeah.
And you were hard to get a hold of at the time. You had this kind of, mystique, and I'm not going to play, like I'm untouchable. You were hiding. I didn't know that at the time, but you were hiding.
I was hiding from my own problems.
You were, but I approached you and you said, okay, finally. We met down in Boston. I remember that.
Yep.
And I approached you and I said, okay, I want to be the Robin to your Howard Stearns.
I remember.
So he was like the bad boy and the Howard Stearns of trader education. And I, kind of more straight. I'm vanilla. I'm just vanilla girl. There's no other way to put it. So I just said, I want to be, your Robin to the Howard Stearns act you have going on, because I know I can contribute. There's no question. And I can't
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah.
So work with me. Well, it ended up, you really disclosed you didn't have the money. You were in a
Yeah.
bad place.
Yeah.
You were using somebody else's Black American Express card. Now you have your own.
Yeah. I was dead in the water. I was dead in the water. I was trying to find lifelines to keep me alive. And, you came along, and I always saw that's the thing. I always saw the value in Samantha and what she does and who she is and how much energy she brings to the table. It's just, at that time, I had nothing. I had nothing. All I had was appearances. I just had appearances.
Well,
That's it.
you did have one viable business idea that I helped you raise, that I tried to help you raise money
I
for.
remember. I do remember.
It was so
I remember.
controversial. It was so quote unquote dangerous. It was so brilliant. And I know what your credit score was. You were totally redeemed with this business. You knocked it out of the park.
Yes.
You are now with a P&L, $1 million a month. It's phenomenal what you have, it made lemonade out of lemons, and added a lot of value to the community. And
you
now you're
watched me through like a lot of shit.
But you're in a good place. Obviously you moved, but I mean, I love being just transparent about this. Obviously I got through my divorce. My 3 kids here in the background are all on the wall, are all in college. We all have a story. It's a personal journey.
Yeah.
And when you called up and you're like, I want to maybe find some women for a trading desk, and my hedge fund, and I want to do this and I want to do that. Where the hell are they? And I'm like, they're in the shadows. They're waiting for a comfortable place where they can come out. And I only, developed my voice over the past few years, right? I wanted to be your sidekick, no more. So I've got my things going on that just, it feeds me, and not just the trading room, which is, retail. And I started a Leduc Trading Edge for retail. And I've got 3 products that are being built for automated trading strategies. And I'm, my book is good, and, my personal life is good. And when you're in a good place, you take more on, right? I'm hiring. I feel in a good place, even with COVID and the world crumbling. It feels like so fragile. At the same time, it's a puzzle to solve. And you and I, we approach it very differently, but we have the same kind of grateful attitude. And honestly, we didn't come from so much. I grew up on a farm. Very humble. I know that you don't spend your millions, foolishly. You're incredibly cheap.
Yes. And I'm incredibly cheap, and I'm incredibly I want to feed, and not essentially feed others per se, but I want to help other people achieve what you and I were able to achieve,
It's a progress. It's a journey. And it's also a roller coaster at times, because life happens. And it is, especially with children,
100%.
Parents, this is just, everyone has their personal journey when they're coming into this field and they want to learn. And I encourage folks, look around, what fits your style, but women, we need to do a better job of attracting, inspiring, supporting, elevating. I keep using these words over and over again, but it is the reason we're talking, and we want to start a movement, but we got to start with, just a conversation.
Let's I mean, I think your segue was amazing right there, as far as it's an individual journey, and just kind of bringing, both yours and my journey, and just the realization too that it's a personal journey. It doesn't matter if you're man or woman. These are your own stories, but for some reason we only hear, we really only hear, the male stories, so to speak, in finance. And if we're talking about trading, and I got to the point where I myself was just like, all right, come on, man. I log into this chat room every day, and all I talk to is dudes. And just that was the motivation alone to just at least hit you up and just be like, all right, what are we doing here? What am I doing here? What is going on here? So let's at least kind of break this up into a couple different parts, I also have tons of comments that I got, Samantha, from the posts that I've been doing, and a lot of women have spoken up in those and dropped comments and stuff. So I feel like that'll be a good place to start too. Just drop one of those comments in here. We can kind of talk about that and then see what everybody else is talking about. MJ here, who has been a part of my room, if you look in the chat box, she's been she's been saying this. My chat room is a boys club, and if you're not part of the club, you don't fit in. So let's just start there, Samantha. I mean, your copy too for what we're doing today also, talked about that. It's this little man's cave where the tone, I think let's start there. The tone of the conversation is just a boys club. It's a man. It is. It's been like that. And we're so used to it that anything outside of it is just like, all right, what is this place? We've gotten so accustomed to it looking like that. We don't even understand or accept something different or something that looks different. So let's start the conversation there, Samantha. What's up with this boys club shit, man? Why do we do that shit, man? What is wrong with us?
I have the same saying. I came up with it a few years ago, actually, when I started Leduc Trading, the website. The very first article I put out was, why don't more women fish? And I meant, of course, why don't more women trade?
Yeah.
It was because, fishing, trading, that's kind of my theme. And I actually built my whole website around the fishing theme, and I don't even fish. But the point is, I had, seen very, 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 very few women as mentors, and, to approach and find out how they're doing, how they market, all the questions that you kind of in a new business like to find out your peers, either competitive purposes or just, team kind of atmosphere, cooperation. And honestly, there weren't that many. And even my Twitter feed was, I think, 97% men. It's now like 80% men, but that's a huge improvement.
So that's even you.
Absolutely.
So even you as a prominent woman now in this world, who has her own service, who has her own education service, even you, it's 80% guys.
Well, let's go back to my one answer.
Sure.
When I did that article, it was very clear to me that privilege is invisible to those who have it.
Agreed. It never was.
So privilege is invisible to those who have it. And, it's very, let's say, elitist, whatever, not to share it. It's protecting, I'm going to say you, meaning boys, meaning men, protecting turf, or it's just the oldest affirmative action, program in history is history. It's just been going on for such a long time. Women with the right to vote 100 years ago, women of color, Black women, hadn't even gotten really active right to vote until 1965 with the Civil Rights Act. Mm-hmm. That's not a lot of time on the clock. Now it's curious. I look at the very stark difference between, Trump and Biden, and you see Trump's team, it's all white men. Yeah. The women that he's appointing left, right, and center, whether you agree with, I'm not just talking Yellen, but I mean, across the board, it's a very different look and feel. So we're going to see more of it. I definitely felt it percolating with the Me Too movement, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. But long story short, I still think that you guys are, short-term selfish. There's this inbred kind of, we've got a business model that's working. Why change it? We have privilege. We don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
I mean, why don't you tell me what is it that?
I mean, all right. There's a couple of pieces of what you said I totally agree with. The fact that, we can even look at it as Black America, men, women, and the idea of privilege, right? And the fact that we're just there ahead of it all. So we're going to try to keep this world the way that it is, and anything different just doesn't make sense, or it's going to take too long for it to kind of break the boundaries, so to speak. But I guess my question is like, okay, we're here now, right? We're here. Mm-hmm. This is where we are right now, right? So if my chat room is like this, and I'm just like, all right, I'm sick of you dudes, man. I'm sick of this vibe in here. Does the conversation have to go towards, okay, we have to create a separate place to exist, it's kind of similar to what's happening with Black America
How
in
did that work
2020.
out? Separate but equal.
Exactly. How did that work out? Right.
No.
And now if we're going to go ahead and separate it, and we were even thinking about that when we wrote this copy, when we wrote the copy for even just doing this webinar, we got so much feedback off of Twitter that some women were like, oh my God, this is great. Thank you for doing this. And then other women were like, why are you singling us out and acting like our hands needed to be held? And I'm at this place where I just want to have a conversation.
We're not talking to them. We're not talking to them.
Indeed.
That's
We're not talking to them, right? So it's like, okay, and then this is to MJ's point, because I think it was MJ who even tweeted it. So she's in here right now and she's talking about trading isn't about gender. The market doesn't give a fuck, of course, but we're not talking about the market. It's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about trading. Money is money. Nobody gives a fuck who's in front of that particular dollar.
Oh
But
yeah,
the way that
I do.
okay,
I do.
let me clarify what I'm saying. The way that we're presenting it and the way that I'm going about this, or the way that, if, for example, we're not making people feel comfortable in this particular boys club, then that's my problem. It has nothing to do with the market. Yeah, I know market doesn't care whose money it is. Okay, fine. But if the world is operating like this, and even I know even some providers that don't even want to pitch to sort of sell their products to women, simply because maybe they'll get discouraged from the email correspondence. Oh, this, and they'll just assume like, okay, this person is just hard to deal with. So let's just blanket women in general and just say, hey, that's it. We're not going to deal. We're not going to deal with women. Those are problems that we have control.
Can I answer a chat that might
for
relate to what you're saying? But MJ is saying because women aren't a good market. Bullshit. Okay. That's a big bullshit. If you got a male-dominated finance industry that is missing $700 billion a year in revenue by failing to listen to or tailor products for women, you have a problem. They're not meeting the needs of women. It's not because women aren't a good market. That's from Bloomberg. If you look at any of the stats from female fund managers lagging their male counterparts by 200 years, another Bloomberg article, where 6 of 16,000 active fund managers globally, just 11% are women. That's not because women aren't a good market. Up from 10% 4 years ago, that's not much.
Right. Right.
Forever. Of the 15 trillion of assets in Citywire's database, just 2.9 trillion is managed by some form of a woman on a team. It might not be run by the woman, but she's on a team.
Right.
It needs to change. And I've said it before, but it's a fancy word, but there's no meritocracy without the voice of women. It's not that they're not a good market. They have been, and I'm sure they have felt in your trading room and other places, not that you aren't more egalitarian, but they have felt talked over.
Sure.
They have felt insulted or dismissed. They have felt ignored, or they've just been in their own kind of path of trading, which is maybe in their head or maybe quiet. I mean, they have personalities, of course, that come into it, but they can't. I've said this before, women can be what they see. And if they don't see many women in your room or in as hedge fund managers or as financial advisors, 86% of financial advisors are men. Change that.
It is what it is. Exactly.
No, it isn't what it is. It's going to change.
I hope so. And I hope so. And what I would like to just make a connection to, even race, so to speak, or not race, it's just color. If I'm in a room and I'm the only brown guy in there, I've always felt that way my whole damn life. My whole life I felt that way. And once I got the opportunity to change that, I went right ahead and I did that. And I went right ahead and I did that, and it was just natural for me to do that. Juliana here is making a comment. Julie used to be in my chat, and her and I used to sling trades together. She's a monster, this girl. Woo! And she said, I was in your room for years, and it was definitely the boys club. I love trading with you, but the other guys were so outspoken, it became overwhelming. So when you took a break and left the chat room, I did also. And she's saying, I think women like to focus more on the trades versus chat about it, and all the BS and all the BS that goes along with it. Like we, when I say we, men, like we like to add some color to it. And you know what?
Nothing wrong with that.
You know where we really mess up though? is that when we get excited about things and when we like to bring in that whole conquer aspect to it. It's like, yeah, I did that, I got that, or even as young boys or whatever, young men, when you were talking about a girl that you may have just luckily slept with, what would you say to your friends? We would always immediately go that far with it, and it was just normal. It was normal because that's just what we did. It's just what we did. Now, is that okay? Is that
no,
okay?
it's
It's not.
not, it's not a problem to be, boisterous, and the sports metaphors are fine, right? I mean, sports in America or worldwide, but I mean, there's that kind of rah gung ho, ego driven, confidence driven. I mean, look at the Patriots quarterback, number one. I mean, really, just the number. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So projecting confidence
Yeah.
is not a bad thing.
Right.
It's your thing. A woman can have a lot of energy to do the same. I can have a lot of male energy. It's kind of associated sometimes like that, chest pounding. Right. We have a culture the past 4 years of, Trump the bully. That's also very, cultural. And a lot of folks kind of gravitate towards that. But that's not my point. It isn't that. It's that women see these teams that are overconfident, cocky. They can't show weakness, right?
Sure.
They're gonna. It's just human nature a lot
Sure.
of time. But it's not that you can't do that, but you can't dismiss.
Yeah. And
women.
I've worked hard, by the way, Samantha, to I literally go into the chat room and I delete people. I delete people, I block people. And just because people don't post their losses, people are not honest with themselves. And I see that all the time in my room. And it hurts me in business wise because I'm literally deleting people who don't. If they only post wins, boom, that's it. I'll refund your money. You're out of here. I don't even want your energy in there, but at the same time, we're still missing the mark somewhere. I mean, the conversation or the tone or whatever, I think we can all agree that it is a boys club, and the tone of these environments are just not conducive to women wanting to be in there. So what do we do about that? What are some things we can actually do about that?
Make an active effort. I mean, I think this is the conversation that NASDAQ just had and passed, that you can't even list anymore if you don't have a woman on the board.
Oh,
I mean,
they said that. Okay, so if you don't have a woman on the board, you can't even list the stock.
You can't even list on the NASDAQ.
That's cool.
No.
That's cool. But at the same time, do you feel like they just put puppets in there and just put it's kind of the same thing? Like MJ here is also saying too, that she's been telling all her friends like, yo, come trade. And none of them want to trade. So but that's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, that's a small sample size.
That's a whole nother thing. We're talking about the women who trade right damn now. What kind of communities do you want to be in? What kind of vibes or what kind of tone do you want to see? I mean, do you want to just see all women and that's it? Screw it. Let's just. I mean, you remember that WeWork company that came out? It was the women's only.
Yeah.
It was the women's only, and they landed like a good 50 million. And they were getting pretty big, man. They had a waiting list, for entrepreneurs or whatever that wanted to get up in there. So do we separate? I mean, I come back to that same argument. Do we separate, or do we find a way to coexist here and thrive? Not only coexist, but thrive, help each other.
I don't believe separate but equal.
I don't believe it either. I don't believe it either.
We tried that, didn't work. So let's just, basically be inclusive. Like really make an effort to be inclusive. If someone's, obviously slow to convert, that's fine. That's their own thing, but they need to be quiet about it. If you have someone who is, feeling comfortable to share, you guys, you have a sharing room. I don't. I have a live commentary. Nobody is talking but me, and it's about the market, and it's not about gender inequality. It's not about politics. It's, Fed speak and press releases and stuff that's moving and why and how to trade it. But this is different. There's a very different approach that I have for trading, and I don't even know what my clients are doing unless they tell me. They have the option to tell me, but only me. Right. They don't share it with others.
They can only talk directly to you.
I don't, whether it's a loss or a huge gain, for me, it's next. I don't even talk about it. They can see it because everything's, brokerage triggered trade alerts, boom, they get the thing. But the point is, if they saw my BlackBerry trade, they know I did really well, and I haven't talked about it in the room. Like, oh my God, look what I just did. I don't even talk about it. It's next. That mindset is my personal mindset. I don't talk about it. I don't do trader psychology. I just want to focus on the next.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, though, if you really were truly like that, you would have no vested interest in making sure that women were represented, because in reality, you've kind of closed that off, right? It's just like, hey, I'm about my trading, my analysis, and that's it. My work speaks for itself, kind of thing.
I really believe that, but that is my personality. And maybe that's the personality of other women. Maybe they like the energy in your room. And it encourages them to be more, I don't want to say man-like, but be more boisterous and more forthcoming and competitive. I would say that your room is competitive with each other, and I am absolutely competitive with myself.
Right.
So this is, I don't take away what you are doing for your community. It suits you really well, and you're going to make sure that nobody's trash talking women and all that, if you got an ejection button. But we're talking about a little bit bigger than just our respective very, very small families.
Definitely.
And we have a much bigger issue. I mean, the gender wealth gap is a big deal. Women keep 0.82% of that dollar that men make, but they only have 32 cents for every dollar in wealth. So as the women are coming, up, if you will, in income, which has been hurt terribly by this COVID session. In other words, the recession has happened mostly of women. Yeah. The luxury, businesses and the service businesses that were staffed mostly by women who are out of work and now need to take care of kids because they have the primary responsibility for childcare. This is huge hit on women. So if any time that they need support, especially safe trading guide rails, if you will, it's now, because they're going to come into the market, trade. They got some money in a Robinhood account. We're not talking about competence, because I absolutely assume that is just a given. Women, finally have 50% of college admission rates now, and so on and so forth. So and then access to the
confidence. Okay, so
it's not competence, it's confidence.
Let's shift the conversation towards that, right? So what kind of strategies do you feel like there's a difference, and we can ask everybody right here. I want all y'all to talk. Drop your comments in the chat box. You should see a little chat application. You can ask us questions directly. Do you feel like women gravitate towards a particular strategy over men? Do you think there's something from a strategy component, or is it just everybody's still a free for all? It really doesn't matter. Do you think we could attract or keep more attention, so to speak, from women if we catered strategies towards that? Let's say the work from home mom, who's got the 3 kids, the single mom kind of situation. They got an account, they want to get into trading. What kind of strategies are they looking for? What information are they looking for? And do we not provide it? And are we not even talking to that particular, that particular strategy or audience?
I don't know. I consider your strategy more risky than mine. But honestly,
my shit is risky as fuck, Samantha. Come on.
But honestly, you seem to make money hand over fist. So who am I to judge?
So who is any of us to judge, Samantha? Who are any? That's why we're here. You know what I mean? Before, we were doing it left and right. We were judging left and right, and we would just assume at all trading chat rooms that, okay, women don't want to be here, or they don't want to trade, and we would just assume things, and we would just judge and say, okay, they don't want the risk, or okay, or it's too risky, or women are too unemotional. We would just throw shit around.
Oh my God! Did you know what? Did you see, or did anyone here see the presidential debate, the first one, before they gave the little buzzer, for timeout? If anyone ever says that a woman is too emotional to be president, I'm going to kick him in the balls. Did you see those children on that stage? Am I right?
Indeed. It was quite emotional.
So don't pull the emotional card, the period card,
Okay.
any pregnancy card. Done. We're done with that.
Yep.
We've moved on. We have evolved as a species.
That's it. Throw it out. Okay. So back to the strategy discussion. I mean, we got a lot of comments here coming in. Julie is saying, SL, if you had a trading room where you only posted your trade ideas and upper and lower levels, you would definitely come back. You know, only you talking. W, I don't even go in there, Julie. Like, I'm really not even in there. I'm in there because I have to be or whatever, but I'm not in there. I'm not even in there mentally. You know, Jessica here saying I may be old fashioned, but as a married woman, I wish I had some other women to talk trading.
Absolutely.
So I'm not on a chat call with a man all day. I can understand this because I've talked to many women who feel the same way. Maybe they don't voice it as much, or because maybe we're not even listening.
Maybe we should start a Slack channel for just that.
Okay.
I have no idea. I've never actually used Slack, but I'm just saying there's got to be some little thing that we can do that's not too time consuming. I mean, we're starting a conversation, but we definitely, you know, I have some clear ideas on what's broken, but obviously everyone will have a different idea of the solution. I don't think it's necessarily one and done here. This is
100%. Yeah, I think we have to work. I think we have to work. We have to try things that they might not work. We got to try other things. You know, we got to go through that whole role. Alicia is saying, don't assume we are afraid of risk. Most of us will take as much risk as men will. I've seen women take way more risk than some men that are sitting in my chat room. So I don't even think it's a risk thing. If they want it, it's there. If you want it and you're motivated and you know, you're looking for the returns or whatever, like, you're going to do it. I think the discussion is more towards what Jessica was saying about the fact that, and what you were saying, Samantha, when you proposed the idea to do this, you were like, yo, there's not enough of leaders. There's not enough of leading women traders like yourself who are just like, yo, this is what I do. This is who I am. This is my story. And this, if you were even thinking about this opportunity, or even, you know, if you were even thinking about this, you should just have a conversation, and here's an easy way for you to get access to it, that kind of thing.
So I actually, because when I started this, right, was 2017, and I put together that article, and I put together a list of women in that article on Twitter to follow, because they were doing.
Can you post that article link in the chat? You know how to do that? Please tell me you know how to do that.
You talking to me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, of course I do. But since then, I only had a dozen names on there that actually ran trader education businesses. And then basically I, you know, came across maybe another dozen women that were on Twitter, FinTwit, we call it, because it's finance and trading, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I like following analysts, macro, day traders. I don't care. But if I find a woman, and not just a picture of a woman.
Sure, not just a picture.
Yeah, right. But I know they're a woman. I put them into this list, and the list that I started building is Voice of Women. So whenever someone follows me, or if I see an analyst or a trader that's a woman, I add them to this list. It's over 400, which of course I'm not on Twitter all day long, but my point is, when I happen to come across, I add them to that list. And ladies, if you hit me up on that, I'll add you to that list. Maybe we can actually kind of like also market to this group and say, maybe we should find some ways to communicate, but constructive. This is the worry. I don't want to just talk for the purpose of talking. We need to actually do something with this. I
agree 100%. I think Cynthia is saying, don't know many 20-year-old women traders. I think the young women, Andrea here, she's 22 from Puerto Rico, loves trading options. I believe I met you. I think she was in the office here. You know, so clearly they're here. They're here.
Oh, I love it. Look at Susan's like, I'm 65 and trade futures. Now that's risk on.
Amazing. You know, so Julie had said another thing. SL, if you remember Liz, she used to be in your room also. We trade together and absolutely kill it. The guys don't even listen to us in the room. So yeah, it's also an us thing. I mean, it definitely is an us thing. I mean, if it's just, you know, it's so tough to get out of a habitual thing that is just part of. It's just been that way for so long.
Privilege is invisible to those who have it. You don't need to change your business model, Anand. It is working for you, and the boys in the club don't need to change it. But guess what? It's restrictive. It's not, you have a daughter.
I got a daughter.
You know what? That's going to change you.
The girl runs circles around me. I'm serious. Like, the girl is ridiculous. And if she wanted to learn how to trade, she'd freaking do it. She'd do it. She would do it.
She probably will.
And but she would say the same things too. She would say the same things. She's actually worked for Sang Lucci. She did my accounting, and she's like, so you don't really have a lot of women in here, do you?
I love it. I love it. So here's kind of what I'm, excited about. So I remember one day on Twitter, I got followed by Keith McCullough from Hedgeye and a 18-year-old girl from Cornell who was trading options, literally her first year in college. And I was so excited about her because I'm like, oh my God, this is a young person, right? In college, puts right on her profile, I'm trading options. And I'm like, I was more excited about her following me than the big egomaniac of, CEO of Hedgeye. I'm serious. I reached out to her via DM and I'm like, you need anything, let me know. Good for you. There are women that are wicked smart, that are totally capable. They just don't know where to go.
Okay. So let's talk about that. Right? They don't know where to go. Okay. And I immediately, what I thought of, and again, I want to just blurt it out there just to see what everybody says. Immediately, I thought of, okay, let's just give all of these women in here a freaking super discounted subscription to this damn chat room. Just get them in there. Just get them in there. Get them in somewhere so that we can all just start forcing that particular world to exist, so that everybody can just kind of coexist. It's kind of me incentivizing them to exist in a space and help me just kind of change the narrative a little bit. But then my other side of me is like, well, some of them, they don't want handouts. They didn't even want handouts, right? Look at all the comments here. MJ is saying ladies night, free before 11, drinks free before 11 at the club, baby.
So you remember when I told you I was doing a podcast with what's his? This is terrible. I just hold on. Founder of StockTwits, he's everywhere. Howard Lindzon. Yeah, Lindzon. Okay. So Lindzon is very, very much, his business model doesn't need to change, right?
Yeah, no.
StockTwits is also ridiculously okay. But anyway, he reached out to me because a female client knows he and his wife and said, you should have Samantha on. She called this whole February, March crash, just have her on. So he invited me. He's already known me for years, but like, I'm not in the bro club. He only has guys around him.
He really does. Especially when they first came out. Remember how they had all those little cartoon icons for their avatars? And remember every single one of them. Do. So
the funny thing was, he said, I'm going to have a ladies' week. So it wasn't like he could just invite me on to talk. He had to make it a special charity event. So he had to have women every day for 1 week out of the year, and then he went back to his male Rolodex.
Exactly.
It's 100% how it feels.
It's for show. It's like
that was value promoting, right? I mean, what do you call it? Whatever. You know what I mean? It was so frustrating. It was just like, and I said that on the podcast. We're not charity. We're actually really good at this. And when you talk about risk, women are risk. It isn't about being risk takers. Sure. I think we are supremely good at being risk aware. I mean, we push babies out. We are responsible for life. We manage, children and households and, parents and families. Some women are responsible for their entire extended families.
It is true.
This is just BS about we are risk averse. Seriously, this is just not.
Okay.
Not a conversation I want to hear anymore. We're not risk averse. We're risk aware. The end.
So there was a comment. I'm a new female trader at age 42. Some of the egos in the mostly male, chats or whatever can be a little much, and it's totally that way. And that's just what even if you're not looking for it or whatever, that's just the energy that's put out there. My question to all these ladies is, you guys have had to deal with men's egos your whole damn life, yo.
Hey, we've been married, we've been girlfriends, we've been daughters, we've been,
it's pretty disgusting, man. It's pretty disgusting.
And restriction is not our jam. We want to be, having this equality, but honestly, you guys got to get out of the way. That's it. We can.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Just get out of the way. Just don't keep us down. We'll be fine.
So how do we do that? How do we do that? Because clearly, if it was that easy, shit would have already been done, right? Shit would have already been done. So it's either you separate, because apparently that's the only way that you can get some way forward into this situation. I'll let them all in right now. Fuck it, I'll open a whole door. You know, I don't give a shit. I don't need any more money.
Your
It's
bros
money
are going
is
to be
not.
really, really angry with you. They're going to say, "Hey, wait a minute. What's with the chair? What, really? What's with that?"
But I don't care. It could be an experiment even. I'll do it for the experience. It just is what it is. But how do we, it's like, we also need you guys. We also need y'all to forcefully go in there and talk over but then it becomes a talking contest. We also don't want it to be like that, but you know what? We got to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere. So where do we start, Samantha?
How do we find
Where do we start?
Where do we find the women and advertise to them who have dropped out of the workforce?
Sure.
Or have been forced out of the workforce because of COVID, and they are prime age, right? 25 to 55. That is the prime age for, child caring. And we get tens of millions that are out of work. Honestly, they got some time to trade. We can
some time to trade.
Paper
Absolutely.
trade, learn it. How do we get to them? This is really important. But when I look at this, I go back also to my history. I got into trading because my son at 4.5 had a medical emergency, ended up, Boston Children's Hospital, as I told you. And that's it. I sold my business at the time. I've always been entrepreneurial, but my point is I sold my business from the hospital. Like, I knew I wasn't going to be going back. Right. And I didn't actually start this business of trading until a year and a half later. So I think this creates a lot of opportunity for women if they can find the right fit and really learn. So how do we, get to them? This is a big question. It's more marketing, if you will.
Yeah, I think it's more marketing, and then Caitlin here is saying, I can't post a stock idea on any platform without being accused of actually being a man. It's almost as if men in the market world absolutely cannot believe women could be good at this shit. Yeah. And this shit ain't rocket science. This shit ain't rocket. It's buy one, sell for two. That's all this shit is. If you understand the inputs, you can get the outputs. And then for me, it's like, okay, should we find a specific subset of women, aka the work from home, you got a couple kids here that you got to deal with, and then you're also trying to make some, some side money at the same time. That's what you did.
I had to be home, and I wanted to meet the kids off the bus. I had a brain. I wanted to use it.
Right.
I had to feed the brain, and I had to, keep the income. So sometimes you're forced to do things. Right. But this is a perfect environment. I'm sorry. This work from home.
It really is. And it's 2020 with COVID too. Like, this is ridiculous. And Shanice here is saying she works as a nurse and still takes trading 100% seriously. How did you go about and get the information? How did you go about, and I'm talking to you, Shanice, how did you go about as a nurse, even getting the idea of saying, okay, I want to start messing around in the markets? And then how did you go about educating yourself, and how do you go about it? I guess right now, I kind of want to use you as a bit of an example here. So while she's responding here, Sam, let's move to, I think I actually have so many more comments I just want to throw out there.
Go ahead, hit it.
From other women that I did a post, on my IG the other day, and tons of people responded. And some of these comments are absolutely great. So let's start with one.
That would be kind of cool if you flood your chat room with women, and I mean,
just flood it.
Flank those guys.
Just flood it. That's it. Just open up the damn, just flood it. Now all of a sudden there's 50 women in there, and men are just kind of, you're just kind of forced to be like, okay, wow, even though we're just talking about trading, ain't nothing different here. And it just kind of forced the situation, and just kind of see what happens. I think it would be a great experiment, if anything. And
there are some that are more receptive. I remember I reached out to Linda Ratsky, who's a big name in the business, and asked if she wanted to talk, and she said no. Shot me right down. I reached out to Miss Schneider, Market Minute. She's brilliant, just awesome. She's everywhere now. And she said, absolutely. And she jumped on a call with me, and we've been friends ever since. So it is also, it's a personal, some don't want to even identify that they are a woman. They've worked so hard, to get into this business and succeed in this business that I think the sharing is a little harder
Right.
to do. And then
Right.
there are those like, Miss Snyder, who's been in it for 40 years. She started on the commodity floor in Chicago, met her husband, and she's just a hot fire pistol. And she wants to absolutely keep this conversation going. She's going to be one of our interviewees because
Guest speakers. Yeah, I got
oh
a
my
couple
God,
guest speakers who are some badass women traders
yeah,
who and I'll always talk to them too. But again, like they won't mess with chat rooms. They won't mess with chat rooms. You won't even know they're there or whatever. But they're there, man. They're there. They're freaking there, man. Okay, let me throw out some comments here. This guy commented on the post. I want everybody to hear this one. Creo que las mujeres lo ven muy aburrido por lo solitario que es el trading. So what he's saying is he thinks women look at trading as very boring because it's like a lonely business to be a trader.
no,
So that's what this guy posted.
no,
I
no,
thought that
no.
was
This is such a mind game. I mean,
I
this is
thought
your
that was
own.
hilarious.
This is your own, trader psychology. Everyone's different. Maybe he's easily bored, but I find the whole thing to be a puzzle. I find the whole thing to be an absolute challenge, and it's a reflection of like how I handle, react.
Yeah.
Is this self-control that you learn over time. I mean, if you want to do boring, you can do boring.
Right.
But again, dismissing or justifying why women don't trade, it's too big, it's too boring. It takes too much money,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
They're not risk enough.
Yeah.
I hate all the excuses. They basically just don't want to share their turf.
Shanice is saying the lack of females may be due to other contextual factors such as child rearing and other
100%.
domestic centered tasks. I hear many talk about how they quit college or their jobs and gave their all to trading. It's possible that women who are interested or currently learning trading are not able to move in that manner due to other responsibilities. Yeah, that might be a deterrent, but you know what? There are deterrents. I speak to men every day that are asking me ridiculous amounts of questions. They have so much fear about getting into the game, just like any person. So I think all those fears or the confidence and all that kind of stuff is just a person to person thing. I think after having this conversation, honestly, Samantha, is that, my daughter hits me up the other day, right? She hits me up the other day. She's like, Daddy, I can't stand these dudes, man. I can't stand these dudes. And she's 15 talking about that. I'm like, baby girl, what's the problem? What's the problem? And he's like, they're fucking stupid. I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah, okay. So keep giving me more, right? Give me more, right? And if she's 14, 15, telling me this shit.
Going on 35.
Going on, and then I talk to my girl who, who has her own relationship with men and all that kind of stuff. Are we just at a point where it's just like, all right, get over yourselves, get over all of ourselves, and let's just exist in this community and help each other out, kind of thing, like the love kind of argument. But can we actually get there in this day and age? I guess is the question. I really want to open up the floodgates. I want to open up the floodgates, Sam. I really want to open up the floodgates, just let them all in. That's
well,
it.
we got to talk some strategies right now because we got to carry this conversation on. We know that we're both pissed, and the women who joined and men who joined today, and the ones who will watch the recording, and I'll show you where that's going to be archived. Hopefully, this is just the start. But you're mentioning, obviously, in small ways how to get this opened up, and basically we're teachers. We want students. We want to grow their confidence. It's not just, pounding chest. You got enough money, you don't care. It's how do you get this this movement a little bit more traction? And the only way you can do that is if women can see what they can be. So I mean, and I keep going back to this, but you gotta hold on. What was the freaking number that I saw that made me absolutely crazy mad?
Oh, you had it in your article. You had
I don't remember where it is. Oh, only 3% of mutual funds, right, have all female fund manager. That means only 2% of total assets. That's going to change, right? Because we're going to come in, this industry is going to grow up women traders and finance. They're getting more jobs in this space, especially, hopefully the new political environment will encourage that. Right now, you had to be a freak of nature and hold on for dear life to be a woman in power. But this has really got to change at this level that we're talking right here. How do we get more women comfortable and confident? Do we assemble? Let's talk tactically. Do we assemble a page, you know, that has all the women owned or operated or somehow, you know, trader education? They provide resources. Like Miss Schneider, by the way, is awesome for beginner traders. I'm honestly active, so you're very specialized. We're not really the best place for folks to come in and get a wide view, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean? We are part of the solution, and people will find their fit. No question. I got, and it's a trust thing too. They don't necessarily trust what they're seeing in some of these YouTube videos that they click on and, you know, get into a chat room, and it's very disappointing. So, but that represents our industry. So we need to do a better job, I think, of maybe coordinating some assets, if you will, on a page
that we can do.
Okay, so who's willing? And it could also be discounts like you're talking about. Okay, you want to offer a 50% discount or whatever the heck it is into your room. If you're a woman, how are you going to prove that? But that's your deal.
Don't worry about it. I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that. But you're saying, assets that can sort of act as sort of brand ambassadors, or not even brand ambassadors per se, but just ambassadors for this particular movement, where it's like, okay, we know y'all exist, we know y'all are there, but if I gotta spend, like, I spend a good portion of my day helping traders, you know, work through some of their bullshit, but all of them are men. All of them happen to be men. So what if y'all exist and y'all need something from a strategy perspective or something, you know, where are we? That's kind of what I'm going for. So having the assets, like you said, you know, those sort of leaders in this kind of space.
And I don't even want to put a judgment on there. Like I probably misspoke when I said your stuff is very specialized. You know, I don't really attract the newbies. But the fact is that we both get newbies all the time.
Yeah,
and they're going to swim or sink.
They're swim or sink. Yeah, so
swim or sink. And that is trading too. But I'm just saying, I think it would be helpful if we had, maybe we collect some resources on, you know, environments that are friendly for women and educational. I don't want to be an Investopedia, but I'm talking about, they can be what they see. So they need to actually get in there. But there could also be the discounts and rooms, you know, that you're talking about.
Right.
I'm not sure about the engagement level, how to do that, because we also lead these busy lives, right? I got all kinds of stuff going on. You got all kinds of stuff going on.
It's true.
And, you know, we're going to try and have this conversation and get feedback for sure. Engagement. Maybe we do it every 2 weeks, you know, just to kind of keep it going. It doesn't get stale. But we need to have feedback. I have a form that James put together, but you didn't give any feedback. I don't know if we post that link, for example. But that's to get that. It comes in and like, what do you want us to do more of, less of? What would really be helpful? I don't know about a Slack channel. Like I said, I'm not really hip on that. But can we ask, you know, those who are here, what would be very helpful to help you find information, to help you get into situations where you could try it out, where you could have discussions with mentors if that's what you're looking for, or you really want to find, quote unquote, a virtual trading desk, maybe you've been
like a community
for a while.
Some kind of a virtual community, or even a, you know, just a community, for lack of a better word. I mean, let me give you my spiel, right? I mean, I have this office down here in Puerto Rico called Trade Space, where anybody can just come and rent a desk, right? The people who have come in here to trade have been, you know, helpful to me in so many different ways. So we're a whole community here. We hang out together, we'll talk shit together. Now we've had 2 women here. Now, out of 14 desks, that ain't bad. It ain't bad. But, you know, we definitely, I'll tell you what, right now, the next person I hire to trade for my hedge fund has to be. It has to be. It has to be. It has to be. It's already in the works. So it has to be. So that's going to happen. You know, so I can do these little things here, but I also need help. We need help just understanding more from y'all. So we'll email y'all, just on some ideas, and we'll continue to do these webinars. And once we feel like we're in a place where we're ready to move on something,
Yes.
you
Yep.
guys will be the first ones to know.
I
And
like a comment that Jessica just put out there that we could spend one session on this
Sure,
alone. And she wrote, for better or worse, women may have a different relationship with money that will
sure,
either help or hurt with trading.
sure.
I can't emphasize that enough. When you have already women at a huge disadvantage to men as it relates to wealth and income, right? And then responsibilities. Um, this to me is absolutely at the core, but it's more than that. It's an attitude. And you and I have talked about this, Anand, where there's a scarcity or an abundance attitude, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And I know that I
yeah,
came from a scarcity
yeah,
mindset.
yeah.
It's that in itself, that we were talking about this as well. Like, what is it that people that suffer losses, um, you know, fear most is not being able to get past that scarcity feeling. You have to get past it. So, maybe it is true that women have a different relationship with money. We'd have to kind of parse that out.
Yeah.
But I think that is where the support comes in
Right,
for a community that
right,
feels safe to discuss that.
right.
Because I know for sure, being, someone who was, let's, put it as it was, more submissive,
Hmm.
this is a big deal to
Yeah.
overcome financially, is that relationship with money.
Well,
And
how did you overcome it then? What did
well,
you do?
I learned something. One thing I learned in life that I learned with money, and it finally just was like a light bulb. It was an epiphany. And that
So
was,
what
don't
happened?
risk anything you're not willing to lose.
There you go. All right.
But
And
that's me. That was
that
my
was you.
personal journey.
Right, right. And we all have our own. We all have
Yep.
our own.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I
So
think this has been a great start. I think this has been a great
good.
start. We can
Thank you for the comments too. They have
yeah.
been, yeah.
We can get a transcript or whatever of the chat just so that I can take a look at it. And then the people that we're going to invite, the women that we're going to invite next time around and next time around, they're all going to be traders. They're
Yes.
all going to be in finance. They're
Yep.
all going to be in this world. They've all fought the same fight,
And
so
they may
it's
also extend like a discount kind of thing if they have
exactly,
a room and they're like, yes,
exactly.
this is a conversation we want to keep having. We want to build this. How much you want to bet they will do exactly that?
I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. But here's the beauty of it. We can just continue talking until we figure out what exactly is the thing that will help the most and the thing we can get behind the most. And then once we're able to do that, let's do it. Let's do it. And we need help from y'all who showed up here to
Feedback.
this first web. Yeah, we just need feedback. That's all we need. I'm just here having a conversation
I think
because
what we'll do is from the emails of registrations, you and I can go over kind of that feedback form to
yeah,
get it in one place.
sure.
I've got that system set up, and I do have, like I said, that Voice of Women list, which is over 400. If you want to go through that and
Yep.
follow some women that are on FinTwit, I call it FinTwit. They
FinTwit.
may
Yep.
be analysts, they may be traders, they may run a trading room, whatever.
Yep.
But you'll find some resources there, and then we'll do this in 2 weeks. You want to do this
Yeah.
again in 2 weeks?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Okay.
Let's you and I just pick a little list of people that we could invite. I already have a good amount, so we'll
Oh
just
yeah.
iron one out, one or two out, and we'll keep it moving here. We'll keep it moving.
Super. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for attending our kickoff on this series of Women in Trading and Finance. Really, really appreciate spending the time and input, and we will send a follow-up form so you can give us constructive ideas for engagement so we can actually build a community and maybe even build a movement.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you all for attending. Have a great night. I'm going to finish my beer.
Take
Bye.
take care, everybody.